Broadcasting live from beautiful, historic Marion, Ohio, it's Now with Scott Spears on WWGH 107.1 FM. Call Scott live on the air anytime at 740-383-9944. No topic is too big or too small. I'm your announcer, the man with the golden voice, Ted Williams. And now, here's your host, Scott Spears.
Thank you, man with the golden voice, Ted Williams. Scott Spears back with you here on a Tuesday morning, Tuesday, July the 26th, 2022. 15 minutes past the hour, 65 degrees, mostly cloudy skies here in Marion, and we have got a great way to kick off the program this morning. As many of you know, we've been talking about this since Friday. WWE Chairman, CEO, and President for the last 40 years ended an era on Friday at 4:05 p.m. by tweeting, "At 77, time for me to retire. Thank you, WWE Universe. Then, now, forever, together." Now, this, of course, came on the heels of an investigation by the board of directors at WWE into hush money paid by Vince McMahon to a paralegal and some other people who have worked in the company, who he has had, let's say, extracurricular affairs with. We're going to talk about that. Also, this Sunday in Nashville, Tennessee, Ric Flair, at 73 years old, will be returning to the ring for one final match. Is this a good idea? At 73 years old, it has sold out there in Nashville, Tennessee. We'll talk about that, and maybe some big things upcoming here in the Marion area as it concerns professional wrestling. Only one person to talk to this about, one of my dear friends, a good pal, a legendary wrestler, Hall of Famer without question, the best talker in the wrestling business, Thunderbolt Patterson. Thunderbolt, how are you?
Heaven high to you there, Scott, and all of the people that's out there listening to in the radio world. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Thunderbolt, before we get into all this wrestling news as of late, you just returned from Waterloo, Iowa, a big event out there. Tell us how it went.
Oh, we had a wonderful time. You know, you just don't understand or can. I hope the people out there can comprehend how families of groups of people are getting together and having real good, clean fun and lifting up each other. You know, this is what we need now in this time of that's going on in this country.
The event out in Waterloo, now it's a Hall of Fame ceremony, but it's also a fan fest weekend, is it not?
Well, it's a honoring individuals into the Hall of Fame, individuals that have participated in the wrestling business, and they are being honored, and they have this every year, and they come together, and we just, I've been in the last three of them, and I have really had a good time.
Now, Waterloo is also your hometown. What's it like to go back and visit?
Well, it's always good to go home. But, you know, when you're gone so long, so many people has gone on, and you look at what's going on around the country and what's going on in the cities, it's always, and it's one of the things that myself and several other individuals around the country has always had on their mind is to uplift and upgrade the wrestling business, and also let the wrestling business help some of the people in the communities. And that's something that really laying on my heart, and so many different people around the country now in the last few years. We have been talking about putting things together to help people in the community and to bring back some of that big money that comes out of that wrestling organization for the last however many years, to help individuals, young women, young men, boys and girls, and to try to teach older people true understanding of what the world is all about, what God is all about, and what we should be doing to try to get along with one another.
It sounds like a great undertaking, and we're going to talk more about that, but want to get to the news. This is a very busy 10-day period in the current wrestling cycle. So let's start with last Friday. We knew that Vince McMahon was under investigation by his board. We talked about that about 3 weeks ago for allegedly paying millions of dollars to paralegals and people in his company who he had extramarital affairs with. And this became a problem for the stockholders, so they started to investigate him. And I think where we are now, they've now got it up to $15 million in the last maybe 15 years that he has paid to women in that company. It certainly is not just one woman. So at 4:05 p.m. on Friday, July 22nd, 2022, interestingly enough, 5 minutes after the stock market closed, a tweet came out from Vince McMahon, and here it is, at 77, time for me to retire. Thank you, WWE Universe, then, now, forever together, which ended 40 years that Vince McMahon had been at the helm of the WWE, 50 years since he had started in the wrestling business as an announcer for his father. What do you make of this? I don't think anybody ever thought they would see the day that Vince McMahon would retire.
Well, man, you cannot just keep on doing wrong forever. Things catch up with you. People catch up with you. And this should prove and show that some of the corruption that's been over the years and so forth and so on, that has been real and not just people talking about it. He has had a long, good, money profitable, but what about his soul? What about how he treated all the wrestling fans? All of those different things we have to think about. I mean, one person or no person is above the law. And wrestling is one of the greatest and has always been one of the top sports in the country, in the world. And then to have individuals that do their own satisfy themselves, the lusts of the flesh, and I mean, and the lies, the big lies, and ruling, trying to control and ruling people, ruining people's lives. All those things the world knows now. So he might have, this morning, he probably woke up Friday morning feeling awful small to be such a big man and let so many people down.
Well, I'll tell you, it's very interesting you mentioned law, Thunderbolt, because yesterday, now Vince McMahon retired on Friday, and there was a question of what in the world would make him retire. He does own the majority of shares in that company. It certainly has been no secret that he has had extramarital affairs. I believe his wife lives in Florida. He lives in Connecticut. They don't even live together anymore. But yesterday, thanks to the Wall Street Journal, we found out some more things about this, and this could really spell trouble for Vince McMahon. Here are the 3 points we learned yesterday. The SEC and federal prosecutors have launched probes into payments made by WWE CEO Vince McMahon to settle allegations of sexual misconduct, according to a Wall Street Journal report. The WWE on Monday disclosed $14.6 million in previously unrecorded expenses paid personally by McMahon, who announced his retirement Friday. McMahon, 76 years old, is the largest shareholder in the company with approximately 32%, a 32% share stake. So now the federal prosecutors and the SEC are looking into Vince McMahon.
But it's clear understanding that selfish don't care about anything but himself. And had one, like I say, I met his dad one time. I worked in New York one time. And for him to, all of these years, there's so many lies out there about different things where people come on the TV and the older wrestlers, whatever, and they talking of things about what Ole done and what Ole didn't do. Well, Ole did not go into other territories to try to take other work away from people. At one time, you could go from one territory to another territory and make a living. But when the big bubble came in, 17 was just as big as his bubble up there. But at that time, Ole and them didn't go nowhere. They stayed in their area. But he took over the whole world. And not only did he take over the whole world of wrestling, but from that point in time, he started tearing it down to degrade not only the fans who paid all of that good money, that the fans paid, or the individuals that were sponsoring or being behind them put up there. I mean, this is just one of the reasons that the wrestling business is in the condition that it is today. Most of the individuals that's in those different spots, just like McMahon took the spot after his dad, but didn't know nothing about how individuals are in those spots now all over the country, and not helping none of the cities and none of the fans or the people that are supporting them and has been supporting them for years. But they are being just like what rulers or dictators. You do what we say, or you do this, or you do that, or you don't have no job. You exploit not only the fans, not only the workers, but also your family. That does not make sense. That is not how the United States is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like this. Dirt, bad stuff will catch up with you, and it looks like Mr. McMahon is at the front door.
When you look back on Vince McMahon, I know the last time we talked, you had said you had never met Vince McMahon, but his name has been out there. How do you look at him and his 40-year run in the wrestling business?
Well, okay, I look at him like this here. And you think about this across the board. Myself, now I don't know him other than what I've heard, but he has heard a lot of me, and I've drawn a lot of money all over the country wherever they would let me go. But he does not want to deal with people other than people that he can control. And you don't have to, we all have seen and heard the same things. And we're hearing more about the things that they've done. But the little things that they've done, they suppress so many different people. The greatest wrestlers in the world, he has the access to them, but didn't or don't know how to use them. And I mean, and he is a master of the racial card playing in the business.
Now,
I mean, some of the greatest of color people in the business. He uses them, he disuses them, he mistreats them in so many different ways. He plays so many different games. Time runs out. Time runs out. And, you just look at the wrestling business itself. The wrestling business, and the fans know what's going on, but they have no control of it because the fat cats, the wannabes, they are in the controlling part, and they don't want to let go. And it's deep, man. It's so deep. But now is the time for everything to straighten out. And it's very simple. Look how hard and how so many people has been mistreated and done unfairly, and even people that believe in individuals, they treat them unfairly and don't care.
This man, to be there for 40 years, in your opinion, did he have any good qualities at all?
Well, I mean, you can't close the door. You can't. Most places. Look at our government. Look at everything that go on. They step into. Look at some of the preachers. They step into something that's great and good and that can help people, that need to be done in order and right. But after a period of time, after they blow their own smoke so long, and after people try to work with them and do work with them, and they just make people feel like they don't exist. There's nobody in the world but who they want here and who they want to be in charge.
You know, Thunderbolt, a lot of people have a problem wrapping their mind around this, that this man will turn 77, I think, in the next couple months. He is a billionaire. He built this empire. His
dad built the empire.
Right, and
his dad put him in the position to do. Just think about it. Just think about this. His dad. I mean, let's go back to the beginning of time. And when we talk about things, we're not just talking about one thing, because there's so many things falls up under that has been done wrong, that has been overlooked or tolerated with and put up with, and individuals have grown and grown and grown to just be monsters, because it's all about the money, ownership, and the power that people want and misuse. They don't know how to see. This whole situation could have been altogether different if the corruption minds or the chauvinist men wouldn't trigger off and do what they want done, not what the law say, or not what the board say, or not what the rules of, or not just treating mankind the way you want to be treated.
Well, it's an interesting story because over $14 million apparently has went out in hush money. Federal prosecutors are looking at this now. The board is still looking at this. Vince McMahon has had to retire because of this. Why would a billionaire do this in the latter part of his life, which has ultimately brought down his career?
Well, okay, but listen, Scott, what a question you just asked. Look at here, man. Look what birds of a feather flocks together. I mean, look what Vince has done. Vince has touched every sport, every entertainment, every celebrity, every field, and used them all to his advantage. Look at our country. Look back at the last 3 or 4 years, what our country is in the same predicament of the lies, of the things, of the wrongdoing thing that has happened, but then still people stand behind because, I mean, people are, it's deep, man. It's really deep. This is a spiritual warfare. This is something that, hey, corruption will rule. But no power in hell can overrule the power of the living God. The time, all of it is coming out. All of it's coming out at one time. It's deep. It's very, very, very deep. The world will never be the same again. The corruption, the lies, I mean, friends. Look how people are turning on each other. I mean, look at that. Everything that goes along. All of those people lying for each other to keep that power, to keep it in the broken mold instead of fixing it, and only as we can, as people.
How do you think this will change the wrestling world to not have Vince McMahon in it for the first time in 40 years?
How would it change?
Yeah.
It couldn't do nothing but get better. Because, hey, what Vince McMahon has done, listen to me. Now listen to me. And not too long ago, they were even talking about doing it more soap opera. Look how long the soap opera has been going on about the lying, the adultery, the mistreating, the stealing, of showing all of that. Look at Hollywood. Look what Hollywood does. All of that. Look how they done broke this thing down of the racial card, playing these racial cards against it. All of that individual using their mind, using brilliant minds to do dirty and nasty things to people.
How do you think history is going to look at Vince McMahon going out this way?
Well, we really do hope that history writes it the way it is. Now, asking me a question like that is a very deep thing. Full 500 years of suppressing racism, in this country and all of these 500 years of all of the individuals has came along and been very, very successful and prosperous, and most of them has done it on the sweat and the brow of other people, of mistreating people. God's in charge of the world, but he gives people the choice to do what they want to do. We had the chance. Here we're sitting in America. We're sitting in America, and here we're sitting here with a divided country, divided capital, one side against another side. I thought that it's supposed to be all about the United States, all about the wrestling business, all about one thing of everything that starts, the next thing they go to something else that don't mean anything, never finish nothing other than how to suppress and how to control and how to keep people in check.
You know, Thunderbolt, one aspect of this is somebody has had to give this information and keep leaking this information to the Wall Street Journal. Do you think this was intentionally done to get Vince McMahon out of there?
Well, let's say it like this, Scott. This, don't you think, and this something should have been done about this long time ago? You know, if you got a friend, Scott, and your friend is doing wrong, do you just hush, or do you tell them? A friend tells a friend when they're doing wrong, whether they like it or not, if they want to be right. We got so many people that's throwing stones and hiding their hands. So many people that's saying, hey, I'm with you, but it's a lie. They're against you. And it's showing. It's all coming to the surface. It's all coming to the surface. Look at all those 77 years Vince has lived like a king. And I mean, and he don't respect that. He knows what he's doing and done. Everybody knows right from wrong.
Well, and it's kind of interesting now with this new ripple as of yesterday that the federal prosecutors, not just his own board, but the federal prosecutors are now looking into this.
Should have been looking into it a long time ago. Should have been. I mean, see, Scott, listen to me. Listen to me. Go back. Just go back to that Ronaldo or whatever. Then go back to Martin Downey's show. All of those things were stacked by Vince McMahon's people. All of those lies that you heard were stacked. And what are we doing? I mean, just these last few months and whatever, we done seen everything. But then what the hell is people waiting on to do what they're supposed to do? They should have been done it a long time ago.
Before we move on to the next story, when you look at this, and it is tied with the wrestling business because Vince McMahon was so heavily involved, when you look at the whole story, personally, what does it make you feel? That this billionaire who has been in the head of the wrestling business for 40 years, had to retire, being investigated by federal prosecutors, paid nearly $15 million to women for extramarital affairs to keep them quiet, and this is the way it ends. How does that reflect on the wrestling business?
Hey, man. Hollywood, the government, this ain't the only business that's been caught. You know, the world. That's what does is this or that what the citizens and the fans want? Is this the kind of rapport that we want from the leaders? I mean, and everybody, what are we afraid of? Why is all the hush-hush? And then why somebody had to come around the back door to put it out? It's been put out there so many times. The danger of toleration. The danger of letting people rule the country. Money and bad people. It ain't the devil. It's the bad people and what they do with the money.
The other big news story of the week, we've got about 16 minutes left here with Thunderbolt Patterson. This coming Sunday, July the 31st, Ric Flair, at 73 years of age, will be stepping back in the wrestling ring for one final match in Nashville, Tennessee. It will be a tag team match. He's tagging with his son-in-law against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. This is being done under the headline of Jim Crockett Promotions. But what do you make of this story now that we're less than 7 days away from it? 73 years old, getting back in the ring.
I mean, and you said Crockett Promotion?
That's what they're saying. Yeah, David Crockett.
Wait a minute. Just a minute. You said Crockett Promotion, and you said Jeff Jarrett. Is that right or wrong?
Yes.
Okay. Charlotte, North Carolina, one of the greatest territories that ever has been on this earth. Jim Crockett Sr., one of the greatest promoters that ever been on this earth. North Carolina, when Mr. Crockett died, Jimmy and David was two of the worstest things that ever happened to the wrestling business. Not knowing anything at all about promotion. Bringing all of their friends in and just killing all of the top wrestlers and bringing individuals that didn't know anything. Got rid of John Ringley, who was known what he was doing. Jarrett in Memphis, Lawler. Okay, man, that's a deep thing. I mean, go back with the corruption and all the stuff and all the different, unreal. And then here we are, man. Here we are, all that they pushed from the beginning of those wars, the chauvinistic part for Ann Gunkel, taken away from her, but then they pushed all individuals that literally changed the way of the business and just tore it down. Tore it up. And now, wrestling business, 77 years old, been pushed, done tore down as many territories as they've been in, but still 17, 18 world champions. Did nobody believe anything that Ole said about him or why they put him out there and all. But he is the greatest of this, the greatest of that, and he's grown, and he's trying to bring his children on, bringing them on. But is there anything about health? Is there anything about what's the law say? I mean, we've seen that man have a heart attack on television. And it's all about the money, prestige, and the money, and they can do it, where they wouldn't allow other people to do it.
You know something, Thunderbolt? A lot of people have been saying that this, for Ric Flair, is about the money because he has had financial problems in the past. Now, he keeps saying he has autograph signing deals, and he doesn't need the money anymore.
Well, see, listen to me. Listen to me now. And he should not need it. Because they have autographing, signing somewhere. For 40-some years, I've only been to 3 of them. They got them all everywhere, somewhere. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. And, I mean, regardless, let's forget about the money. Saying if he needed it or not. He's 77 years old, or however old he is, or whatever it is.
73.
Health-wise, and then the wrestling business going to go along with it to allow it because the Crockett's, the Jarrett's, they got the connection to pull. Are you following me?
Well, you know, Thunderbolt, the question is, certainly, as you say, Ric Flair's been pushed for many years. If it's not about the money, let's take him at his word. It's not about the money.
Wait a minute. How can you take any of these people out there about what their word?
Well, that's what I'm going
all they've been doing is lying and pretending they are more than they are themselves.
Well, that's where I'm going with this. This is somebody you do know, Ric Flair. You have met him in your career. Yes. Why would he do this? If not for money, what's the point here? After his health issues a few years ago, being in ICU, the surgeries he's had on his stomach, abdomen, pacemaker, blood thinners. Why do this at 73?
Well, that's a good question. That's the only one that could answer that would be him. And would he lie about it, or would he tell the truth? Would he lie about it, or would he tell the truth? Or why is it so special? Why do they pick certain individuals? Why Vince spend all that money on them women? Why they mistreated their family? Why Ric Flair? Hey, come on, man. And see, that's what I mean. That's part of the racism thing too, of just pushing individuals that shouldn't be.
How did you find Ric Flair when you knew him? What kind of guy was he?
I mean, just like he is, caught up on himself. Think he is better than he is or was.
You know,
caught up on himself. Big old I and little old me. That's how he look at people.
You know, people do refer to him as the greatest in-ring performer of all time.
Wait a minute. Do you believe that?
I think that, it's interesting because I think a lot has to be taken into account because there were a lot of people before Ric Flair that people don't know, and they're never really paid much attention to.
Ric Flair couldn't tie up so many of them boots, lace up their boots. Rick was the individual that they wanted in that spot. You saw him one day, you saw him every day. It's the same thing over. They done told you all about it. And not only have they told you all about it, but they have expressed themselves all over the world of who they think they are. It's to their heads. It's a lot of people better than them.
You know, it's interesting. When we talk about Vince McMahon and we talk about Ric Flair, certainly Ric Flair has had his financial problems with the IRS and his wives, which are well documented. He has had a few wives, can't seem to get that straight in his life. One of his sons, unfortunately, overdoses on heroin, I believe it was, and dies. And yet, I guess, and then the plane ride that was recently brought back to life on television, a plane ride with wrestlers, I believe, from the early 2000s, in which one of the stewardesses said that he propositioned her and did things, and that's why he's not getting some work in some federations right now. That's been the claim of it.
Wait a minute. See, not getting work in federation right now. 73 years old. I mean, not getting. I mean, but he got work. He got as much work as he wanted, and made top dollar as long as still making money. So I mean, what's so special?
Well, that's a question. They're selling these tickets at big money prices.
Because they're controlling people. They're controlling. They write what they want to write. They put down what they want to put down, and they want history to be like they want history to be.
What do you see Sunday night being like? How do you see that going down?
I don't even. I mean, I really, I tell you, don't care. Really don't care. You know, it's too many. There are too many young individuals out there that could put on some real good wrestling shows, but they don't want to use them. They want to use their chosen ones, or the ones that is over the dam, that they just stuffing down the throats of everybody. You know, I mean, and the Crockett's and the Jarretts, they're gonna pay for the tickets themselves if don't nobody show up, or they're gonna give the tickets away and pay. I mean, they're gonna make it look like it's the world. They've been doing it all along.
What's the history on Ric Flair say? How will history reflect back on him?
Everybody has seen the same thing. Everybody has seen it. I mean, he's got a spot. Do he deserve it? That's the thing is, how many people are in spots that they deserve? How many people are not in spots that didn't even have the chance to? Nipped in the bud, but just still pushing. They get care less whether they die in the ring or die. Is because wrestling, the greatest, 18 times, 20 times. Follow me?
Well, here we are in 2022, and in 1 week we've got a 77-year-old man who's had to step down from his company, a billionaire, after 40 years because of $15 million in hush money.
All that money.
And then we've got a 73-year-old man who's getting into the ring for the last time, who in the last 10 years has had severe medical problems that landed
and been pushed and made all that money. And when you sum up both of their careers, be only judge, your own judge about it. You can see it. It's so clear.
Well, Thunderbolt, in our last 2 minutes here, I wanted to talk because coming here in the fall, I believe you're going to be making a trip back to our area. We always enjoy when you come here, but there are some ideas that you have that we've been talking about that are going to be coming to fruition as time goes on, hopefully to help people.
Well, that's true. That's true. I mean, like, as I've been saying all of these years, you know, I'm a wrestler, old wrestler. I mean, and I had, they clipped my wings in my heyday, my best year. and they even clipped my wings when I was trying to promote. I mean, this has been years and years and years ago. But it's a whole new day now. Promotion and also trying to bring out new stuff. See, that is one of the reasons that the Ric Flair's Dan Gable Hall of Fame museum, wrestlers come out of college. You either be a wrestler and train and obedience and discipline, or you become to be a natural individual. But not be, and the way the wrestling has been all along, nobody is leaving any money in those areas that they come in and take all the money out. So we're going to try to start helping the communities, teaching the children, and trying to teach people what they need to know to save themselves. You know, we can have fun, enjoy ourselves, but that's clean fun and treating people right. And that's all. And that's not asking too much.
You know,
so just get ready. Cause we're going to show them praise and worship, making wrestling great again, trying to help community, building community, trying to help the youth, trying to bring our kids home, trying to stop all the violence, trying to stop all the killing. Those are the things that we can do.
Thunderbolt, final question here. For all those people who say that you prevented your own ascension to the top, because one thing everybody does say, you had talent, you drew money, but yet you were your own worst enemy, is what they say. What do you say to those people at 81 years of age now?
Well, what I say to those people is just like it is. I know that I had talent. God gave me this talent. And I drew money. But the racism part in wrestling, the racism part, or when an individual come and say, you before your time. How could you be before your time? And I was born just like each and every one of them. And also, you listen to some of those podcasts and some of those interviews they have with the Arn Anderson and the different individuals that talk about taking care of themselves. But when I took care of myself, they didn't like it or didn't want it, but they couldn't do nothing about it. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Well, and all I wanted to do was be a part of. Then I got to the point I wanted to be an owner. I know just as much or more about the wrestling business, and I certainly know how people should be treated because I've seen it all. I've seen all of the mistreating, all of the racism, all of the favoritism, all of that. I've seen it all. But there is a God. Peace. Peace. Be still. Joy. Jesus, others, and yourself. We're living in the best country in the world, the United States of America. And individuals that say that they love America and are standing by of all of the corruption or all of the downplaying, suppressing, and conniving and controlling, God don't like ugly. God don't like ugly. And I cannot give up on good people because I know that there are some great fans out there. And the other part is I know that God loves me and has brought me this far. For this is my purpose, to try and make things right. Regardless, I'm not mad at nobody. They have to encounter and do for what they've done of my life and my children just because of the color of my skin, just because I want ownership, just because I want to be a part of, just because I can be just as good as anybody else, and was as good as anyone.
Absolutely.
It was proven. So, and these are the things that, everything that we've been talking about today, the billionaires, the money, mistreating people, mistreating your board members, mistreating the fans, mistreating your families, mistreating everything, the government above the law. The United States should not allow that. We are a better country than that. We are running to places to aid people in other countries and all, and people are making just fools out of people here in the United States of America.
The one and only Thunderbolt Patterson. Thunderbolt, thank you so much.
See you soon.
All right.
Call somebody and tell somebody. There's a whole new day. WWGH 107.1 FM. Look for us. We coming your way.
Thank you, Thunderbolt.
Love everyone.
The legendary Thunderbolt Patterson.